my favorite bassist of all time is the late, great Paul Jackson. And I would really love to hear a bit about one of my favorite records of all time, The Funk Stops Here. If I could hear about the background that led up to that album coming together.
That wasn't really me. I lied about that record. That was some other guys that Paul and I paid, and we just drank beer and hung out and produced.
Let's hear about that then.
Yeah, that was cool. Okay, so Jim Payne, the great drummer Jim Payne, called me and said, I want to do a record with you. You can play anything you want. You can play any way you want, but it's got to be funky. That's just exactly what he said. And I said, okay, I knew who to call right now. We got to call PJ, and fly him over from Japan.
Oh, was he living in Japan?
Since the 70s.
Wow.
He passed away there. He all the way up until he passed away. And then I had been playing a little bit in people's front rooms with Kenny Garrett. He wasn't Kenny Garrett yet.
He sure was on that record, though.
Well, he was always that.
Yeah,
but when musically he was Kenny Garrett, but his career hadn't taken off like that yet. It was just starting to. But when he first got there from Detroit, we did some playing together, and like in jam sessions in guys' houses, and I can't remember, a couple of little gigs at 7th Avenue South, I think. So I know Kenny can really get funky and go anywhere. So I'm like, let's call Kenny Garrett. And then my friend from California, Jeff Pittson, and I had we logged in a lot of time playing, and I knew what he could do. And he had some special ideas for the sound of this record and stuff like that, and we discussed it, and I said, okay, so let's get Jeff. So we flew him out. Now, this part's going to kill you. This is what makes this so good. Jim Payne had a house in the swamp in some little town in Florida. I don't even know the name, but when I say in the swamp, I don't mean like close by. I mean in the swamp. And you could go out on his deck, and there's a boat there, a rowboat, and you can... And when you start rowing, if you go under a tree, you got to watch for snakes. There's gators. I mean, this isn't Leave It to Beaver time. This is like the jungle. And then he's got a house out back. And I lived in Texas, and I was terrorized by scorpions and spiders as a child. So I'm deathly afraid of even a nice little friendly spider. I'm not deathly afraid, but I'll probably I don't want to kill things, but, I just got to get out of the room. I have PTSD. And so they had these big, huge banana tarantulas that were not poisonous, but there were hundreds of them. And they lived in this shack and it was a nice little small house behind Jim Payne's house. So there was another little cottage. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm a Buddhist and I chant, so I didn't want to drive everybody crazy. Nam myoho renge kyo, So I'll stay out in the shack or the shed or the whatever your cottage. So I get out there. Everything is cool. It's kind of nice. I'm alone. I don't have to be with the band all the time, which I love being with the band, but I like being alone too. So, and I shut the light off to go to sleep, and I hear blah, 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 blah. I hear this running feet, just like that. Bam! The light's back on. What the hell is that? It's something on the roof. I gotta get Jim. What's going on here? And I look up on the ceiling, and there's 10 or 12 of these tarantulas walking upside down. That's their feet hitting the which is their floor and my ceiling. And they're all over the place. And I was gonna go, and I'm bugging out, literally. Yeah, if you will. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna go in the house and sleep on the floor. I can't do this, man. It's crazy. I'll be exhausted for the recording date tomorrow. And but then I thought, hey, wait a minute. These things aren't poisonous. I'm going to try to overcome this right now. So I shut the light off and tried to go back to sleep. And I did. And I woke up the next morning. In the daytime, maybe you'd see a little antenna sticking out of the wall where it needed a paint job, and there were some holes in the wall of this little. And then I took a shower that morning, and I'm in the shower, and I'm like, pretty good. I got 6-7 hours sleep. I'm ready to play. It's not so bad. Nothing bit me, I don't think, And when I'm taking a shower, there's a little crack, like it's like a haunted house, little, old boards. You could look right into the wall. And there was like a foot of some insect hanging out, and it was moving. The foot was moving. And I thought, okay, I'm just going to ignore this. Finish taking a shower. So I lived out there for a week with those
oh my goodness
monsters. And then Paul, something happened where Paul needed a hotel room. Who knows what that's all about, but we got him a hotel room in town near the studio.
He probably was afraid of the spiders, man.
Huh?
He probably was afraid of the spiders.
He may have been.
I have the heebie-jeebies just here.
Yeah, well, he made this incredible chili. Paul could really cook, and he had this gigantic vat of chili because there was in his room at this hotel was a kitchenette, and then his bed was elevated off the floor, so the bed was kind of higher than the rest of the room. And he's waiting for the chili, and we're all waiting for the chili too. And we're talking about what we're going to record the next day, this and that. And all of a sudden, Paul's reading. Paul's famous for being rude, and you're in a conversation, and he just starts reading a book. And all of a sudden, and it's always Road and Track magazine. He's a car nut, so we're all talking. And then next thing you know, there he is. He's reading again, and he's a big, big guy. He's 6'4" and 200 and something. He's a big man. So he's got really long arms. And he's reading, and we see that there's a tarantula crawling across his ceiling, and now it's right above his head. And he seems to not see it because he's reading. And we're being real quiet because we're waiting to see how this plays out, see? And then in one fast move, he flicks his arm up to the ceiling with this book and kills the tarantula on the ceiling because the bed was high enough that he could reach it. And there's this big crash and then this spot on the ceiling of what once was alive. And we're just like...
He just knew it was there. He wasn't even peeking.
Well, he was messing with us. He was acting like he didn't know it was there. And then we were kind of... He could see that we got real quiet, so we're waiting, and then he pulls that move. This dude had like a very bizarre sense of humor, and anyway, I guess I sort of got going on that one there. But the whole thing was, in the studio, although it was outside of the swamp, it was like sort of a wooded area, and there was a soul food place that was close by. So we would go down there and just like tee off, like in between, like if we took an hour break, we'd go down there and get ribs and chicken and smother it in hot sauce. And, it was a potato salad and, the whole nine, And so we were in this environment that was so disconnected from New York and wherever the rest of the guys lived. I guess Jeff lived in San Francisco, Paul in Japan, Garrett was in Brooklyn. And so we're in this prehistoric environment. So I think that helped. And the atmosphere in the studio, the air itself was very kind of dank and not stankin' dank, just kind of thick, and you could feel it.
Stank and Dank was another restaurant in the area. Yeah,
Stank and Dank. Well, it was a takeout, Stank and Dank takeout. So and a delivery. They did quite successful.
Yeah.
The Stank family actually owned the franchise. Dank.
Yeah, Dank married in.
Yeah, he had a tough life, but he got in. He did okay.
He did
finally. Okay. Yeah. But so that's so it was like a prehistoric experience. Period. Okay, I'm done. Thanks. Oh my God.
I mean, that album, it's a joyous album. That's where I realized that Paul is an astounding singer.
Yeah. Have you heard his album Black Octopus?
Oh yeah, my God.
Oh no.
It's like, I think it was released in Japan originally. It's kind of hard to find here, but his singing, there's like, I love some of the tunes he has on there, just like compositionally, but his performance on it is so great.